Okay, Michael. So we've worked together for many years, but I suppose there's always the possibility of learning more. So we have these few quick fire questions. So I'll start you off on an easy one. What is one app on your phone that you can't live without?
Cringy, but it's going to be Changlin for me. It's an Irish language app.
Cool.
Surprise. I've got all my grammars on it, my pronunciation of all the dialects is on it, and it's got 2 dictionaries on it. So I use that every day, even when I'm watching television, listen to music.
Okay, so it's your go-to. For me, it's Audible. I listen to a lot of audiobooks. I cycle a lot, and even though I'm not supposed to, I always have the buds in. I'm listening to a book. So Audible is my one.
Very good.
What about one thing on your bucket list? Looking through the next few years, something you'd like to do or a place you'd like to go?
Travel more, definitely. But travel Norway, Sweden and Finland.
Scandinavia?
Yeah, Scandinavia. That's definitely up there.
Fantastic.
I'd love to go there.
Yeah.
What about yourself? What's on the bucket list?
I suppose when you think about it, travel is a big thing, isn't it?
It is, yeah. Broadens the mind.
But for me, I'd like to do something I've already done, because I haven't been there in 10 years, but I'd like to go back to Stratford and sit in that magnificent theatre and watch Shakespeare's
play.
Yeah, it's a problem I have.
Maybe I should have picked something educational.
No, yeah, but the problem with it is when I'm talking about English, it genuinely I'm talking about my hobby.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's when our oldest child was born, my wife surprised me actually, and we went to London to visit her sister, and we drove up to Stratford. I didn't have a clue that this was happening, and the best part of it was she handed me one ticket. It was one ticket, so I had to go on my own and sit, and it was King Lear, best book ever written, official. So yeah, go back to Stratford again before the end. Yeah, I'd love to.
Excellent. Favorite comedy movie, Paul?
Well, that's easy enough. Trading Places.
Classic.
Absolute classic. Yeah.
Classic.
The Snapper's up there as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd probably go home in the car and argue over those two, but I think it has to be Trading Places. What about yourself?
Bridesmaids.
Oh yeah, brilliant. Yeah.
Hands
that's
down.
a big hit in our house as well.
My go-to movie. Yeah.
And what about this? The classic question: what made you want to be a teacher, or like me, did you kind of fall into it?
I would say I wanted to be a teacher, but not really wanted to be a teacher. I kind of then ended up falling into it a little bit more. I originally wanted to do something with Irish, so I originally kind of picked Irish, and then I ended up finding out I'm actually quite good at teaching.
Yeah.
So I ended up just going with teaching then. But no, I love it, absolutely love it. But it wasn't on the cards for me. If you'd have told 14-year-old me you're going to be a teacher, and a teacher in Irish, I probably would have laughed. Yeah,
absolutely. Yeah, I'm the same. Like it starts with the love of the subject, I suppose.
Yeah, definitely.
And somebody who will remain nameless just said to me, "You love talking and you love English and history. Why don't you become a teacher?" And I was like, "Okay, yeah, I love it." And what about it's a rewarding profession. We both love the profession. What would you say if you were to? Obviously, there are stresses involved with the job, like every other job. But in terms of rewarding, is there one thing that stands out to you?
Yeah, for me, it's just when a student walks into a room and feels kind of maybe pressured with it, that they don't feel great in the subject, and then cut forward to maybe a little bit later on when they walk out of the room, they're actually like, you know what? And they turn around to be like, it's not that bad.
Yeah, that's the line.
That's it.
100%. That's the line. Because I think with both of our subjects, you mentioned earlier on, there is baggage.
Yeah.
They do bring baggage in, but when they're leaving and they go, "You know something?
It's not as bad as
that wasn't as bad as I thought it was going to be."
That's it.
That is really rewarding. Now, here's the hardest question. You ready for this?
Yeah.
What actor would play you in the movie of your life?
Melissa McCarthy from Bridesmaids.
Very good, yeah. Maybe she do. But actually, I'd pick her too.
Geez, I don't know. I never thought about that.
It's a tough one.
Ryan Gosling or something, maybe. Something kind of casual, low key.
I think
Ryan Reynolds or something.
Yeah. I think for me, it would have to be Colm Meaney, with no insult to his hair. The man has magnificent hair, but he could always shave his head.
From the Colm Meaney from the Snapper.
Colm Meaney from the Snapper, and for Dan Steins from Star Trek Deep Space Nine. A very important actor.
Quick question: have you got top films in Ireland? Because I saw this one the other day. What's your top 3 films in Ireland? Like for me, it's Intermission, The Snapper, and The Field, classic.
Yeah, brilliant. God, that's a tough one. The Field is magnificent. Intermission. The Snapper is my, like, I'm banned from watching it at home because I'll start laughing and I won't be able to stop. But yeah, they'd all be up there. I'm trying to think now. Leave that with me now. I can't think of another.
Commitments?
Yeah, it had its moment. Obviously I was of an age when it came out, and I thought it was really, really good. Yeah, no, I can't. Sorry, I'm stuck on that one. No, I can't think of one. I wouldn't mind, but I watch a lot of movies.
Yeah.
Best Christmas present you've ever received? Keep it as cringy as possible. Make me cry.
I got a kayak.
That's so impressive.
But I genuinely loved it. Like,
Right? You mean like just sitting in your living room floor, or did you actually bring it on the river?
It was just 6 foot there in the living room floor. Sandy was very good to me that year, yeah, but I loved it, absolutely loved it.
Wow.
That's and book vouchers, usual Irish stuff.
Book vouchers,
dictionary, love an old dictionary as well.
Yeah. I got a BMX burner. It was red and yellow when I was about 11. And it was the coolest bike in the road. It was brilliant. I had it went in by way of the skip when my brother crashed it. And that was the end of it. There was no rescuing it.
A book that you would recommend as an English teacher, and say a book you would recommend. Maybe not one, but maybe one or two.
I've been listening a lot to Desert Island Discs recently. There's an app, and it's brilliant. And at the end of that, when you've picked your 8 songs, they say, right, we're going to give you the collected works of Shakespeare and the Bible, and you're allowed to pick one other book.
Yeah.
And it's so interesting listening to what different people say. And I've been thinking about it a lot. And this is now, again, Captain Pretentious English Teacher. But if I was to pick one, it would be the collected works of Gerard Manley Hopkins. Because that man was a genius. And he wrote I love poetry. And he wrote a poem called The Wind Hover, which is just, the way you were talking about films there, and you're that you really enjoy. And then the way you come across something, you go, okay, it's not going to be better than that. That's the way I feel about The Wind Hover.
Yeah.
So I think that would be, if I could recommend, if anybody would like to go out and contribute to the Gerard Manley Hopkins Fund, go and buy collected works of him. What about yourself?
Mine's actually on the course, the Leaving Cert course called On Trial. I love On Trial, even though it was written maybe in the 50s and produced in the 60s. It's the story of a young girl falls pregnant by an older married man, but I find it's very relevant even in today's day. Even though it was written back in the 60s, it's still applicable today. So you were talking about The Snapper.
Yeah.
Still, it's got undertones from The Snapper as well as to how society viewed unmarried women, how society looked at unmarried women, how society looked at women in general. And I find that's kind of, I think maybe in the referendums we've had kind of as a
fascinating to see how much, and it's great for young people to see how much Ireland has changed.
Or hasn't.
There's an Irish teacher who called Mary Shanahan, who recommended that to me last year, and I haven't got around to it yet, but I remember having a conversation with her about 2 plays that have been on the Leaving Cert. One is prescribed for study actually this year. It's called Sive by John B. Keane, which is really interesting things to say about the way, we treat people who are vulnerable.
Yeah.
And then there's another one by Patricia Burke Brogan, and it's about the Magdalen laundries, and it's about, the experience of young women in the Magdalen laundries. So this is one of the things about our subjects, like, they open up the world different perspectives. Yeah.
That's one book I love, genuinely. Just think
it's called On Trial.
On Trial, yeah.
Right. Can I be controversial and ask, is there an English language version of it?
There could be, or I could just come to my class.
Okay, here's a question, right? For somebody who is not a Gaeilgeoir, and there's this rich, depository of literature, as Gaeilge, how do I access it? What do I do?
Come to Grinds 360.
Come to Grinds 360.
On Monday or on Tuesdays and Wednesdays.
Watch your video content, but I will watch the video content on Trial.
I think as an English speaker, wanting to move into Irish and wanting to kind of get the literature, because I think the Irish literature offers us a different perspective on how we can view Ireland.
Yes.
It can offer us a different perspective on how we can view people and Irish people, and but there's so much there's so much wealth, and it's all reasonably accessible. There's lots of translations that you can get, but translations don't give you the full essence of the language. Like, translations, as great as they can be, they fall short.
Blind fail.
So I think maybe
so that plays about, really, isn't it?
Yeah, I think definitely classes, language classes. Try yourself. We live in a country where we speak Irish. It's not as if we have to travel to France to feel the immersion. It's not as if we have to go to Italy to feel the immersion of the language. You can go to Meath, you can go to Waterford, you can go to Cork, you can go to Kerry, you can go to Galway, Donegal, Mayo. That language is there. So if you really want to kind of get into the grips of the language, take a course.
Go and find it.
Go and find it. It's there. It's only up the road.
Yeah. I've one more for you.
Go ahead.
And it's the one that you're always asked as a teacher. Did you have a teacher when you were in school who made that impact on you? That teacher. Does one jump out? Maybe you had 10. I don't know.
I did. I had 2.
Right. Okay.
I had Miss Mulcahy, who taught me biology, and Miss Tumulty, who taught me Irish. phenomenal teachers, absolutely lovely teachers. So nice, approachable, humorous, lots and lots of humour. Always took the stress away. Always found kind of the funniness and things and the lightheartedness and things. And I never felt really kind of under pressure or and they kind of formulated kind of who I wanted to be as a teacher. Then I always look back and think they're actually.
So you were learning a lot more from them than the subject.
Yeah,
yeah,
definitely. Personality counts. You know, personality.
100%. Yeah.
What about yourself, favorite teacher?
In secondary school, there was a woman called Mary Bugle who, like, not just for me, but for a whole gang of us, was just an amazing human being, but also was my English teacher. Mm-hmm. And I suppose told me that I was good at it and that was a valuable thing.
Yeah.
And then when I started teaching, there's a fella called Jim Carberry, who's just, Jim, if you're watching, you know, about being a teacher,
yeah.
about the art and craft of communicating, about having standards for yourself, about, you know, caring about the subject and caring about the young people that are in front of you. All of that stuff.
Yeah.
He was fantastic. I'm just thinking there, actually, I mentioned the play. I never said what it's called. It's called Eclipsed by Patricia Borg-Brogan. Highly recommend it.
Oh,
it's fantastic.
Eclipsed.
Yeah.
I think teaching's kind of a performance as well, though, isn't it? Like you're on the whole time. Like you go in, you perform.
One of the issues I've had with some of the recording is that if you watch some of the recordings, I'm gone over there because I'm moving around too much. We'll have to put an X on the floor and stay on it.
Stay there.
Yeah. So yeah, Michael, fantastic chat.
Yeah.
Really enjoyed it.
Again. Yeah.
Looking forward to this new project. We're there.
Yeah.
Ready to go.